Hello friends, welcome to From Seed to Plate. I'm Kaylee. If you haven't been here before, I'm going to be doing some meal prep for the week. I don't do traditional meal prep where you make your meals for the whole week. I make the ingredients so that I can put different meals together all week. And then what I don't want, I freeze. So come along with me. We're going to grill some stuff today and cook some stuff on the stove. The marinade I did for the pork chops is mostly Worcestershire sauce, apple cider vinegar, oil, and then I just put salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder. I think that's it. Oh, brown sugar. Don't forget the brown sugar. It adds a little bit of sweetness that makes it delicious. The Southwest chicken, I'm gonna have to look at my sheet of paper to remind myself what's in there. One sec. All right, so the Southwest chicken has olive oil, apple cider vinegar, cilantro or parsley, chili powder, garlic powder, dried oregano, cumin, and salt and pepper. So the chicken, I actually did a bunch of different marinades. I separated the chicken into bags with the marinades and I froze them like this. So then as they thaw, they marinate at the same time. I do like 5 or 6 marinades. I'll put a couple pounds of chicken in each bag for each marinade, and I'll do those all at once and I'll stick them in the freezer. And I take it out of the freezer the night before or the morning of, stick it either in the fridge or in the sink depending on how long it needs or how long before you're going to cook it. And then it's already marinated for me. I don't even have to think about it. I can just throw it on the grill, make some rice and some broccoli, and I'm done with it, or just heat up leftover sides and veggies. So I have to keep my grill covered because there is a huge oak tree right here, and it drops all kinds of stuff. And the rain will get inside and rust it, which they already do rust. And unless you buy a really expensive grill in Florida, you have to replace your grill every few years. I actually prefer to cook on charcoal. I think it tastes better, but I like the convenience of propane, so I have a propane grill. I used to have one that did propane and charcoal, but that was when I lived in a different house and had a much bigger patio that was covered. And so for a smaller grill, this works just fine. I would rather have the convenience because I'll use it more than to have the charcoal that I wouldn't use as much, even though I do like the taste better. All right, we'll let that heat up. We'll get it cleaned and we'll get to cooking. Let's go start some bacon. So I'm doing a few packs of bacon. These are actually a little bit smaller. They don't have as much as some of them that you get from the grocery store. But I think we're gonna need 2 pans. And I like to use aluminum foil, cover the pan, and that way sometimes grease gets underneath, but it's not as much of a cleanup. Ow. Move the box when you're done pulling it out because it'll try to cut you. I'm having a hard time with this today. Hopefully that's not a sign of how the rest of the evening's gonna go. We're just getting it out of the way ahead of time, that's all. I have some bacon and breakfast sausage that I'm gonna cook. I wanna make some breakfast bowls with bacon, sausage, potatoes, onions, peppers, eggs. I think that's it. I think that sounds delicious, and then I'm gonna put them in the freezer. So I'll have them on mornings that I don't feel like cooking fresh eggs. Or I want something with a little more substance. All right. One thing started. Let's get our chicken and pork on the grill. So I already put tin foil in my pan. I do that so that when I take the stuff out, I can just put them right in there. These bags I'll take right in the house and get rid of them since they had raw meat in them. I have not cooked pork chops on the grill in a very long time. So we'll see how this, oh, it smells good. We'll see how this goes. I'm gonna cook these on like the lowest because they're so thick. And I might use a thermometer on them. Probably should. I actually wanted to get the grilling done first because I'm hungry and I already have some rice made, so I think I'm going to eat pork chops and rice and gravy. Whenever I'm grilling anything, I do set a timer if I'm not going to be staying outside because I will forget about it and overcook it. So we're going to set a timer. We are going to go ahead and get our burger and our breakfast sausage cooked. I think that I want to make taco meat. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I like to just have protein prepared and then I figure out what to do with it later. So for burger, I get my pan nice and hot. I want there to be a little bit of a crust on it because it adds a bunch of flavor. Probably should have done the breakfast sausage first because I have to put the taco seasoning in this one, but that's okay. We'll adjust. We'll just clean it out before we do the sausage. Tyson has joined us. You want some watermelon? You want some watermelon? He always joins me in the kitchen and in the garden. He gets his treats and then he leaves again. So to get the extra grease out for burger, sausage, anything like that, and because I don't want to pour it down my sink, even though I rent, I prefer not to mess with the plumbing because I don't want to have to wait for a plumber to come out. Anyway, I just do it to the side and soak the grease up with a paper towel. This isn't too bad. This meat's actually 85-15 and it doesn't put off a whole lot of grease, so that's nice. All right, now we're ready for our taco sauce, or seasoning. All right, so I think I'm gonna add about a 1/4 cup of water. Might need 1/3 cup. I don't remember. We'll see how it is when I mix it up. See how it looks. Now I'm going to put the seasoning in there. I like to mix it up a little bit in the water first, because then it just doesn't stick to just the meat. It coats all the meat instead of sticking to a few pieces is what I'm trying to say. A bit more water. So I like to make it, I put more seasoning than like the packets call for. And I like to make it a little bit of a saucy texture. So I love sauces of any kind, almost any kind. Okay. So that one might not be quite done. So this one was a little bit thicker, so ow. We'll just leave that one on for now. And then let's flip these guys. Like this side has that nice grill marks. It's gonna be delicious. So while that rests, I am going to get this taco meat into a bowl and then get our sausage cooked. I need to check on the bacon too. I probably need to switch those around shelves. Or switch those shelves around. I keep talking backward today. The thing I can smell the most is the Worcestershire sauce from the pork chops. It smells really good. If you like Worcestershire, use it in marinades, especially for beef and pork. I mean, chicken too, but Beef and pork especially, it's delicious. All right, I'm gonna get this cleaned out and we will do our sausage. Same thing with the breakfast sausage. I like to do a nice hot pan so that I get that browning on it. It adds that umami flavor. It's delicious. The bottom's definitely getting more cooked than the top, so I want that to be semi-even at least. I mean, we can always take one out before the other. So this is the browning I'm talking about. It adds a nice salty flavor. Hello again, it's the next day. I ate dinner and I got sucked into a show. So we got all the meat and stuff done yesterday. So today I'm going to prep some oranges because for some reason I won't eat them if they're not pre-peeled. I don't know why, I just don't. Kale, I just want to get chopped up and off the stems for soup. Some carrots, unfortunately I forgot to put them in a bag and that one's not so bad, but this one's a little rubbery. It's interesting. They're going in soup though, so hopefully it'll be okay. Butternut squash. I've never had butternut squash soup before, so I'm gonna try to make some of that. So that's what I'm gonna prep that for. Broccoli will be made for soup and just to eat by itself. And a couple ears of corn. So I'm actually going to get water on so that I can blanch the corn for a couple minutes. So I like fresh corn that I've frozen, so I will peel it, blanch it, and then cut the kernels off and stick them in the freezer. And then all I have to do is heat it up when I want to eat it. So we're gonna get the husk and the silks off of these corns. And I like to break them in half just because it's easier to cut the kernels off once I'm done boiling them. I like to do most of my veggie prep and stuff all at once because then I only have to get my cutting board out and my knives and stuff dirty one time instead of multiple times during the week. All right, so we're gonna do onions also. So we'll pick a knife. Once that water's boiling, we'll throw the corn in there, add a little salt. I guess I'm gonna turn on my oven and I am going to go ahead and get my butternut squash started. I'm just gonna cut it in half, roast it. I'll scoop it out and then make soup out of it. So I don't need to peel it. Ooh, look how pretty that is. All right, I need a spoon to scoop the seeds out. This is so pretty. And I'll use all the, this pulp once I'm done with the skins. Everything that I peel, the husks and all that will go in my compost. I just put everything in either my sink or a bowl while I'm working, and then I will take that outside. Well, this actually comes out pretty easy. Okay, cool. I only like certain squashes, so I'm really interested to see, once it gets done roasting in the pan, I am going to try a bite and see if I like the flavor of it just by itself or not. Maybe take a piece out and add some butter and salt and pepper. See how that goes. Where I live, I might be able to grow them, or I might be able to, there's other ones that are like miniature, so I might be able to grow one of those. I don't know. What do I need? I need a pan. I guess I could just do oil, but I feel like salt and pepper makes everything better. And then we'll do them flat side down. I mean, this is how I've roasted like spaghetti squash. I do like spaghetti squash, but that's a totally different consistency. Do that. All right, and then once the oven's preheated, we'll just stick them in there and watch them. I don't know, maybe 30, 45 minutes. Little growth happening on there. I'm gonna cut these into little chunks. A lot of the time when I cut, like if I cut them just for fresh eating, I'll do, what are they called? Like little spears? Is it spears? I don't know. I'll cut it in like strips. But for soup and stuff, I actually prefer decently small pieces, so I'm gonna do that for these. And then when I'm ready to make them, all I have to do is pull them out of the fridge. And then there's not as much prep to do. I'm gonna just throw all the ingredients in the pot and go. So these carrot peels I will save for when I make broth again, and the onion peels too. I reuse the plastic bags that I have in the freezer from my produce waste. Because if I just have a few things, even if I'm not going to use it for broth, I'll stick it in the freezer and then take everything out at once. But if I do a separate broth bag, because I just do onions and carrots pretty much in that, or like garlic peels. I don't really put anything else in that. So the rest of it will just go either straight out to the compost or will go in the freezer and then to the compost. I'm going to do the onions last, but I'll do the oranges before that because they put off a lot of juice. So a lot of the time when I get kale, I will dehydrate it and turn it into powder. And then I use it in smoothies. Pretty much that and cutting it up and putting it into soup are really the only ways I eat kale. I've seen people make kale salads and stuff. I just haven't tried it yet, so I might have to try that sometime soon. So I am going to rinse these off because I get them. It's called Farm Box Florida. I'm not sponsored or anything by them, but I get a box every week or two with produce, fruits and vegetables in it. And they are like, they try to be as much locally sourced as possible around Florida. They also do like meat and other products, but I just get the fruit and veggie box. And it gets delivered, and I love that because I don't like grocery shopping. I'm sure you can eat the stems of kale, but I don't enjoy the texture of it. All right, so we're just going to chop this up a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect or anything. I just don't like to have big, huge leaves that I'm trying to get on my spoon. There we go. That should be good. think I'm just going to put the carrots in a bowl because I think I'm going to use those here shortly. If I wasn't going to use them right away, I would put them in a plastic bag so they don't get any more flimsy or, you know, lose their crunch. Okay. All right, we're going to do the broccoli next. I think this all actually might be used for soup because I want to do a broccoli cheddar, and this isn't that much broccoli, so the head is my favorite part of the broccoli. Sometimes I'll use the stalk, sometimes I won't. It depends on what I'm using it for. Oh, oven's preheated. Let's put that in there. I guess we'll start with 20 minutes and see where it is. Go from there. So I think I'm going to do really little pieces because I think I'm going to do broccoli cheddar soup. And I like it cut up pretty small for that. All right, I think that's plenty. I'll get a few of these chopped a little smaller to match the other pieces. Okay. Try to fit all this in this little bowl. Okay. The corn's cooled down a little bit, so we're going to go ahead and cut that off the cob. The corn cobs will go into my compost too. They seem to decompose just fine. I have not had an issue. I saw someone else online the other day that used the back of their knife to scrape the cob. This doesn't, maybe it's the kind of corn she was using. This one doesn't seem to have much left. Unless I'm just cutting further back, I don't know. All right. We're going to add this to the bag that I already have for corn. Sometimes I'll start a new bag. Like if I know this corn has been in here for a while, I'll start a new bag. But I know this corn has not. It's only been in here a few weeks. I've added to it here and there, but it has not been like months and months or anything. And you can break this up more if you want to. It doesn't really bother me either way. Just depends on my mood when I prep it. I love fresh sweet corn. All right into the freezer. Okay. Next, we're gonna do the oranges next. I think that's the only fruit. I got grapes this time and peaches, so those don't really need to be prepped in any way. Like if I get kiwi or oranges, what else do I prep ahead of time? Oh, the grapes I did wash off. I took them off of the stems and put them in a bowl with a paper towel underneath it. And that keeps them good for a while. And I can just literally just grab a handful out of the fridge. I don't have to do anything. So that is a way to prep grapes. Like any berries and stuff I get, as soon as I get them, I go ahead and clean them and put them in a container so that they're easily accessible. What else? Apples I don't do anything with because they get brown and stuff. If they didn't get brown, I would 100% cut them up, core them, but they do, so. The other thing I like about this is you don't have to eat the whole fruit, or you don't, if it's already prepped in a container with like 2 oranges in there, you can just take a few bites of orange. You don't have to eat a whole orange at one time, so I find that nice. I think that's a benefit of doing it this way. I think just 2 will fit in this container. All right, oranges are done. Come on. Put those back in the fridge. Hopefully these aren't too strong. So how I cut my onions is I leave the root end on. I cut the other end off, cut it in half, and peel it. So this is going to go in my broth bag and then go in the freezer. So I do the same thing with onions as I do with the corn. I chop it up and put it in the freezer. So that way, same with everything else, whenever I want to use onions, I don't have to get my chopping board out or get my cutting board out, get a knife out and dirty all that stuff. It's already done. I can just dump it into the pan frozen. It works really well, and I tend to use more vegetables and things if I have them prepped. Uh-oh. This one's a little stronger. I like to peel them all at once and then chop them up, because then I don't have to worry about, I get the skins cleaned up and I don't have to worry about them getting in with my chopped onions. Woo! I gotta take a break for a minute. That one was strong. Ooh, that's gonna be a pain to cut. Okay, I guess let's start with the little ones, because those big ones are, that big one's strong. So I have seen where people slice it, which is what I'm gonna do, slice it this way, and then they slice it in this way. I don't like cutting toward my hand because I will 100% end up cutting my hand. And I've never had a problem with getting small pieces. So I don't really know the point of chopping it this way, because I'll show you once I do it. It doesn't, I feel like it doesn't really make a difference. So I'll show you the small pieces that you get without doing that. It's the same thing, I feel like. Unless I'm missing something, I don't know. I feel like it's, the risk is not worth the reward, that's for sure. All right, so this is without doing that cut. Maybe it's because I cut it at an angle around instead of cutting it straight down. Maybe that makes a difference. I don't know. But I do not find it necessary to do that other cut because these are all super small pieces. I'm not cutting toward my hand like that though, because I will eventually end up cutting myself doing that. So if I wasn't doing other stuff today with some of like the broccoli, the carrots, the onions, I would be putting the onions in the freezer. I would be putting the broccoli back in a plastic bag and into the fridge, and I would be doing the same with the carrots. And then they would be ready and prepped for when I do want to use them. I don't do like meal prep per se, but I do prep components ahead of time so that I can use them to make meals. And when I do make meals, I will make enough that I have leftovers, and I will either put them in the fridge or in the freezer. So it does produce meal prep, but not all at once. And I don't feel like I have to eat the same thing all week, and I can mix it up. I don't like eating the same thing every day. I'll eat like something for dinner, and then I'm fine with having the same thing for lunch. But I don't like to eat most things multiple days in a row. So this works out way better for me, and it's just me. So it's not like I can't make a big meal and then just have one leftover. So this works better. I ate chicken yesterday. Since I made the chicken, I had some for dinner, and then I actually had some for lunch, but instead of eating chicken and rice and mushrooms, I ate chicken and mashed potatoes and corn. So you can kind of switch it up that way. I do the same thing with the vegetables, or I do like this. I'll prep the ingredients and then make a casserole, soup, stew, whatever. The carrots are gonna go in a couple different recipes. The onions are gonna go in a couple different recipes. The broccoli is just gonna go in one. I think the kale is gonna go in one or two. And then if I don't use all the kale, I will dehydrate it and make powder out of it. But now I have all my components prepped, so when I go to make the dishes, it takes way less time. It might not take that much less time, but it feels like it, and I don't have to dirty as many dishes. So I'm more apt to cook more often if a lot of my ingredients are already prepped. So that's how I can kind of get away with like meal prepping, but not eating the same thing every single day for a week. So I do make big dinners and stuff, like I said, and I will separate them into portions and put them in the freezer. So that way, when I really don't feel like cooking or I don't have anything prepped that's really easy to make, I have something. So that works out really well. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me in the kitchen today, and I hope this could help a couple of you. I mean, you could even do this with a big family. So I think that's gonna be it for this prepping video, and I hope to see you next time, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.